Get it. 100 feral hogs.
Good morning. Agenda item 1 is the call to order. It's 10 a.m. on May 22nd, 2025. I call this meeting of the Citizens Clean Elections Commission to order. With that, we will take attendance. Commissioners, please identify yourselves for the record.
Christina Werther.
Galen Payton.
Amy Chan.
And I'm Mark Kimball. We have a quorum. 4 of the 5 of us are here. Item 2, discussion possible action on the minutes from the April 24th, 2025 meeting. Commissioners, you have the minutes from our April meeting in your packets. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes for April 24th, 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner Werther. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes. I'll call the roll. Commissioner Chan?
Aye.
Commissioner Werther?
Aye.
Commissioner Payton?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The minutes are approved 4-0. Item 3, discussion possible action on the executive director's report. Tom?
Yes, thank you, commissioners. I just wanted to hit some of the highlights here. Our special primary election for Congressional District 7 that process is underway, and we will be holding debates for the Republican and Democratic primaries in Tucson at the Arizona Public Media Studios. And we have all confirmation from all the candidates for that. And we'll have we'll have a digital voter education guide available for that. So we are pretty excited about the opportunity there. And that will, as in our debates in the regular election years, that'll be available to be distributed widely to newspapers, radio stations, television stations, and the like.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure, please.
Commissioner Payton?
So
Commissioner Payton.
that's where PBS is?
Correct.
In Tucson?
Yes, yes.
And are the primary ones, is it on the same night, Republican and Democrat?
They're on I believe they're on the 8th and 9th. And I think it's Republicans 8th, Democrats 9th.
Okay.
And if you're interested, I mean, Gina will be able to, we'll be able to follow up with you about attending.
Okay.
If you're interested.
Thank you, Commissioner Payton. Tom?
Okay. Related to the voter education guide, I want to highlight that the governor signed HB 2376, which will expand the voter education guide that's mailed to registered voters to include county-wide and county supervisors candidates. I think this is a really good bill. It will fill in a gap that exists, and especially in those non-statewide years, the voters routinely call us or call the counties and say, where do I find that information? So that will, I think that's a good addition to fill out the materials that folks are looking for there. And it passed unanimously, and we didn't have to testify. I wanted to highlight one other bill. The governor's going through, I don't know how many bills she has, and there are a number that are being vetoed. But this one was interesting. It doesn't deal with us directly, but it's a bill that creates a 180-day deadline for filing officers to act on campaign finance complaints. So acting on them, I'm not sure I know precisely what that means under the statute. But the effect of it is that if a filing officer just doesn't do anything with a complaint within a certain period of time, then it essentially it gets dismissed by operational law. It also allows the filing officer to keep that clock going, extend that clock if they need to. So it doesn't affect us directly, but it is kind of interesting. For purposes of what we do under the Clean Elections Act, we have our deadlines operate differently. We have if we don't take action on a Clean Elections Act complaint, or we don't take action on at all on and when I say action, we staff action on a voter protection Voters' Right to Know Act complaint, then some people, or in the case of Voters' Right to Know Act, any voter can file an action against the commission for not acting. So it's a little different incentive structure there. But it also applies to all filing officers, not just the Secretary of State's office. Gina was nice enough to write up this. I got selected as a Flynn Brown Fellow, so I'm going to highlight that. Deference to Gina writing this for me. And but I'm excited about it.
Mr. Chairman and Tom, if I could just congratulate you on that, Tom. That is such an accomplishment and an honor and well-deserved. And I know that Gina has been a proponent of this, and it's a wonderful opportunity. And so wanted to recognize that as well. It's just exciting that she's been a part of it for so long, and that now you'll be able to be a part of it as well. So
thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah, and I joined that, Amy, and it's worth pointing out that the office has had several previous recipients, including Gina and Avery.
Yeah, and
Oh my gosh, did not mean to leave out Avery. My apologies. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, no, that's right. And I assume we'll have more in the future too. It looks like Commissioner Titla has his hand up.
Yeah, Chairman, this is Steve Titla. I just tried to get on earlier, but thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Titla. The record will show that you've joined us now, and we have all 5 commissioners present. Tom, you want to continue?
Yeah, I wanted to also highlight the other voter education work that is happening. We just got through the last local election, so we'll be transitioning to the CD7. So that one had some interesting results. If anybody's paying attention to the Glendale Resort vote, if anyone has that's undecided, I think, as of now. But Alec has been managing to that and keeping that up, and then Gina and Avery have been working with a variety of civics partners to work on how everyone can kind of coordinate the various events that are coming on the calendar. And the second episode of Beyond the Ballot AZ is up. And it's really kind of an interesting one. If you get a chance to listen to it, I recommend all of you, I mandate, if I can, and urge those who I can't to listen to it and subscribe. This one is great because and I didn't know this, but prior to 1988 in Arizona, the Arizona Constitution specified that a statewide office holder had to be a man. And the legislature put on, with the backing of the Arizona Chamber, a measure to take that language out, even though it was already essentially obviated by other aspects of the Constitution, to recognize that Governor Mofford had become governor. And it's really kind of a thing I didn't know. And we did an interview with an ASU law professor named Aaron Scharf, who was very good at talking about this in context. And I don't know, it was very nerdy, but you didn't know that, did you?
I don't believe I did. It sounds vaguely familiar, but I
didn't believe it. When the production team brought it to us, I didn't believe them.
Astounding.
Let's see. Anyway, the biennial adjustments are out from the Secretary's office. That's important. And then I think the other thing that I wanted to mention directly is that we had the oral argument in the Ninth Circuit on the Prop 211 case. That's a much more straightforward First Amendment claim by a group called Americans for Prosperity. Essentially, it's a wide-ranging legal complaint, and the argument is, it's hard to predict, and we could, and we won't know for some time what the Ninth Circuit will do, but I watched it, and Commissioner Kimball attended as well, and I felt very comfortable with how our attorney Eric Frazier presented our arguments, and so we'll see we'll see what happens there. Just to spend a second more on this, there's this is really a case about whether or not you have a First Amendment right to just basically have your donors be essentially confidential, and whether or not the donors have a right to have their relationship with the upstream users of their money confidential, right? So there's two types of confidentiality essentially happening. So a lot of the arguments spent the one of the sort of most engaged sort of interlocutor on the panel spent a lot of time sort of talking about, well, what if somebody puts money X dollars into some organization, and that money later ends up with an organization they don't like, and that becomes revealed, and sort of the issue is, well, on the one hand, the argument that the AFP makes is that that's somehow a forced association, but the associations happened. If it's the question of whether or not they have a right to have that association remain private, right? The fact that gets revealed is a fact that exists. So, anyways, it's kind of an interesting argument. I think if you want to understand the statute and the issues, the First Amendment issues, it's worth watching. And that's, I believe that completes the report.
I have a question about the biennial
Oh, sure.
adjustments.
Commissioner Payton?
When is the lieutenant governor going to happen?
So this is interesting. So Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Payton, the lieutenant governor doesn't have an office identified in the commission in the statute, and the assumption. I gotta be honest with you. That's a really good question, because we may have to find the answer. I don't know how the regular campaign finance system is going to assume that. In the federal system, the president and vice president are part of the same account. It's a presidential campaign account, and when the vice president is identified as vice president, they're essentially just wrapped up in the president's account. And I assume that's the case. Although, now that you mention it, I suspect that if there's an opportunity for people to raise additional funds and get an extra limit, they might try to do that. So I will follow up on that. I don't know the answer, but for clean elections purposes, there's not additional money because of lieutenant.
When are we voting for them?
Oh,
the next time? Or?
2026. Yeah, there will be.
So you would think that would be in there.
Well, they'd have to amend the Clean Elections Act, which they are unlikely to do for that purpose. But I think it's an interesting question in general that I haven't thought about. So we can look at that, because it'll be interesting to find out.
Interesting point. Any other questions or discussion from the commission? Thank you, Tom. Item 4 is discussion and possible action on MUR 25-03 and proposed repayment order for Monica Timberlake, 2024 participating candidate for state legislature. The next item is the executive director's request that the commission issue an order requiring a candidate to repay Clean Elections funds and make a reason to believe determination related to a participating candidate's financial reports and records. We'll hear first from the executive director, followed by Monica Timberlake or her representative, if either are present. Tom? Let me just mention one other thing. Shayna Stewart is here and will serve as the commission's independent advisor for this matter. So if any of you have any legal questions, please direct them to Shayna. Okay, Tom.
Commissioners, thank you. I just you probably had a chance to read over the memo and the proposed repayment order. The factual template here is essentially it's similar to what we've had with some other matters. The candidate received funding, stop filing campaign finance reports and then decline to communicate effectively with either the auditors or the staff. I will say, just for your purposes, and I have it for you if you would like, we have an email we received this morning from Ms. Timberlake, where she sort of outlines her point of view on why we are where we are. I'm going to share this with you and then for you to review.
Tom, can you briefly summarize this for
yes,
people who
yeah.
don't have a copy of it?
Sure. So, the email we got basically outlines that the candidate respondent has had some health issues of a variety of kinds, and is therefore was not able to, in their view, communicate with us over the past, I want to say 6 months, maybe. Yeah, 6 months. So we and she also, says that she will be able to start working on getting everything filed and turned in as soon as starting at the beginning of June. So that's the upshot. From a staff perspective, the way we think about this is we've had situations that have come up where folks have ignored us, not sent us an email ahead of the meeting. We've had situations where people filed something before the meeting. This is sort of we've got an email saying here's what's going on, but no filing of any kind associated with this. So the staff inclination is that the framework we have facilitates us moving ahead regardless, and gives us, I think, the mechanism to ensure that we're able to hold the candidate to a schedule. So our inclination is, based on where we're at, is that we don't have any filing, any representation around at all around the use of the funds. We don't have a firm, we have a statement along the lines of I'm going to work on this starting this day for as long as it takes, but that's not like I will have this done by X date. And then I think that as sympathetic as we want to be to candidates who have issues of various kinds, it just doesn't amount to, for us, a sufficient basis for us to sort of ask you to pause on this. What we instead would like to do is to have, we would ask that you determine that there is reason to believe as outlined in the memo on the failure to file and the various accounting issues, and that you approve the repayment order. Those are the repayment orders are a real thing. I don't want to leave you with the impression that it's not a real action. It is, and it's an appealable agency action. It's a serious thing, but I just don't feel that we're in a position as staff members to just kind of hope that we hear something in a month at this point.
Just to be clear, according to the timestamp on this email was received 8 o'clock this morning, 2 hours before the start of the meeting.
Yeah.
After not hearing from her for months.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions or comments from members of the commission?
I would just say that I'm beyond frustrated with these different instances and the time of no getting back to us, dealing with the auditors, anything, is quite frustrating to me, and I think we should proceed with this.
Mr. Chairman.
Let me just say, Commissioner Payton, I completely agree with you. It's very frustrating. Commissioner Chan?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I echo Commissioner Payton's comments and yours. I have been dismayed to see that people ignore staff's attempts to help them come into compliance and only respond when it becomes more of a legal liability for them. I don't recall this being so common years ago. Maybe I've got rainbow colored glasses on with my memories, but and while I sympathize with the reasons presented by this particular participating candidate, I support going forward with the vote today and support approving the repayment order.
Thank you, Commissioner Chan. And I agree with you. It seems like this is something that's, I don't know if it's gotten worse, but it's certainly gotten more frequent in this past election. And we have contracts essentially with candidates that we will provide them public funds. And in return, they will use those funds in an appropriate manner in their campaign and account to us on how they spent it. And it's kind of a black and white issue. And when they just ghost us or send incomplete material or just vanish, it's totally unacceptable. Any other comments or?
Yes,
Commissioner Payton?
The election was November 5th, and this is the middle of May, and I guess I've said what I needed to say.
Any other members of the commission wish to make any comments? Any member of the commission wish to make a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Werther?
I move to approve the executive director's recommendation that a reason to believe violation of the Clean Elections Act and rules has occurred in the action MUR 25-03 and also approve the proposed repayment order.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Werther. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Payton. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the executive director's recommendation in MUR 25-03 and the proposed repayment order. I will call the roll. Commissioner Werther?
Aye.
Commissioner Payton?
Aye.
Commissioner Chan?
Aye.
Commissioner Titla?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion is approved unanimously, 5-0. Thank you, Tom.
Okay.
Item 5, discussion possible action on rulemaking related to participating candidate campaign finance reporting, repayment, and release of clean elections funds to participating candidates. Commissioners, before you is a rulemaking proposal developed by staff. It is designed to emphasize participating candidates' obligations to file timely and accurate campaign finance reports by, number one, requiring candidates to submit an additional attestation regarding the completeness and accuracy of their reports before receiving funds. And number two, placing candidates on notice that failure to file timely reports after receiving funding may result in a presumption that the funds have not been used in accordance with the act and rules. Tom, is there anything you want to add to this?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I just want to add, so this is designed one of other, and there may be others, but this is our initial stab at trying to address the concerns that you all have expressed and correctly expressed. From our perspective as staff members, the issues with reporting and particularly the audit are new. If someone was late, usually the audit will get them, get their attention. And for whatever reason, and we don't know the reason, that has not been the case. I'm really not in a position where I can talk too much about the merits of the cases we have, obviously, but nevertheless, I think that broadly speaking, there are different reasons in every case, and that's interesting in of itself. I mean, so there's not like we're not aware of I can't divine from the information we have some specific theme, but systemically, one of the issues is that the clean elections funding is not distributed on a timeline that accords with the campaign finance reports. So if you qualify on Monday and the report was, or I should say this other way, if the reporting period closes on Monday and you are funded on Tuesday, we're not going to hear from you until some weeks later. And so by the time, so essentially time will have lapsed anyways. And so the presumption we're putting in place here would serve to provide a clear notice to the candidates that these failure to files are going to have meaning in the context of clean elections. And we think that itself may remedy the situation. In other words, because the last thing I would think a candidate would want to do in the middle of a campaign is have to deal with a repayment order. I mean, that would be that's not a meaningless thing. And then I think that asking them to sort of affirm that their reporting to that point is correct and they understand everything. I think they do sign the contract at the beginning of the process. I'm hopeful that an additional essentially certification, which amounts to when you get the check itself, you're signing off. I mean, before you get the check, you're just signing off. Just this is what you agreed to. If you've forgotten what you agreed to back in, and then it also, the way we've written the rule, it has specific points of emphasis that we are concerned about, particularly an issue we have worked on and off for decades is how to address how to address the role that consultants play as sort of umbrella spenders, and we've done several iterations of that over the years. But this one at least wants to bring that up again and say, hey, if you're going to use a consultant, you need to make sure that a complete report will be a report that will make sure that all of the related expenses that should be reported under that consultant's expenditures are there. So,
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from members of the commission? Hearing none. Do we have a motion to publish this proposed rulemaking for public comment?
I move to publish this proposed rulemaking for comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Werther. Is there a second?
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we publish this proposed rulemaking for public comment. I will call the roll. Commissioner Werther,
Aye.
Commissioner Payton,
Aye.
Commissioner Chan,
Aye.
Commissioner Tidla.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The motion is approved 5-0. Item 6, public comment. This is the time for consideration of comments and suggestions from the public. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter or rescheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date or responding to criticism. Please limit your comment to no more than 2 minutes. Does any member of the public wish to make comments at this time? Anyone on Zoom? Okay. Hearing none, the public may also send comments to the commission by email at ccec@azcleanelections.gov. Before we move to adjourn, Tom has an addition that we need to make to the motion on the rulemaking.
No, I'm sorry. It's just the dates. Yeah.
Oh, we skipped it.
Yeah, I screwed.
Okay. Proposed meeting dates for the commission from July through December. First of all, we are meeting in June on, what date are we meeting in June? We're meeting June 26th. And then after that, we will be meeting on July 17th, August 28th, September 25th, October 23rd, November 20th, and December 11th. So mark your calendars. The commission meetings will be held always on Thursday and scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. The schedule is subject to change, but this is the dates we now have. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
We need to take a motion on it.
We have, but there's not actually
Okay.
a strict
No,
requirement.
Yeah.
A motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Commissioner Werther. Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
There's been a motion to adjourn that's been seconded. I will call the roll. Commissioner Werther,
Aye.
Commissioner Payton,
Aye.
Commissioner Chan,
Aye.
Commissioner Tidla,
Aye.